All right. It's the CARESNONE Be Dope Podcast. I am your host, Chris CARESNONE, and I'm with my co-host, Derek Fisher. What's up, man?
What's going on, baby boy?
How you feeling?
Chilling. I'm good.
You good?
Oh, great. How are you?
I'm excellent as always.
Of course.
Power of our words.
Sensational.
And then we also got Tom in the house. What's up, Tom?
Hey, yo.
How you doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm good,
What
man.
you been up to, man?
Yeah, what you been
I'm
up
just
to?
trying to hustle this year.
I see.
Get shit together. You know, I feel like every year is just like a building block for the next, you know. New Year's comes around, you're just like, this is the year.
Yeah.
Which usually, you know, maybe you fall a little short on stuff, but no, I got big ambitions. So
Hey.
we're
That's
just
what's up.
every day, you know, just trying to get a little bit ahead.
It's a journey.
We were literally just talking about that at your house, about being around those kind of people to make sure that your environment, and not, of course, as it gets right into this, but the series we were literally just talking about
it, yeah.
is that you want to surround yourself with people that think that way, because distracted people distract people. I heard that, and I was like, that's real talk, though. So if someone's not focused, it's like some people might not be able to come on your journey if they're not on that, you know?
Right.
It's not also like, fuck you. It's just like, man, we're on different wavelengths, and I'm on here. So I just want to be around those kind of people like you and Tom that are always like figuring something
On
out.
a journey.
You're on a journey, you know what I'm saying?
On the path that you're on, yeah.
I love people who are trying to take advantage of being alive.
Take advantage of being alive.
You know what I'm saying? Like to me, it feels like, damn, once you get to a mindset, you're like, you know, I can try to figure some shit out. You know, there was a point in all three of our lives where we decided, you know what, I'm gonna go hard body at something. Mm-hmm. When would you say for you, Tom? Did you notice? Okay, I like this, and I'm gonna go forward with it hard.
It's this.
Yeah, no homo.
You know, I don't know. My last job before I started working for myself, it was a really small operation, and I remember looking at my boss and just being like, he ain't shit. Like, and it was like a 2-man operation. I was like, I pretty much run this bitch. Like, why do I even need this? And so I was like, you know what? I got a couple of interests and hobbies, and I think, as you guys know, like I had a recording studio. And I was doing like car stuff, like 2 passions of mine. And I was just like, I bet I could make a go at this. And the rest has kind of been history, and I'm just kind of been compounding off that, I guess.
When did you make that decision? How long ago?
Probably like 2016-ish. Yeah, I've been working for myself pretty much.
So
since
imagine
then.
all that. So let's think about it.
Yeah, energy.
All that energy is from 2016, and obviously he goes hard at it. Then look what your energy can turn into, like something a lot more polished and a lot more plush.
You're right, especially when it's compounded over time.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's why
he was putting all of his energy into this one person that wasn't shit, according to him.
Literally
put his
real talk,
not my words,
his life
words,
energy.
You know what I mean? Right, and put that energy towards his own shit, and look where we are right now. And building. It's the journey. But
then, were there moments throughout your journey where you felt that like you might not do it?
Oh yeah, no, I was about to say like, you know, I was
talking about.
I was sounding cool there for a second, but the truth is like, it took a lot longer than I thought. You know, I feel like, I don't know if it's just like childhood cockiness or just like, you know, being like a young, I don't know, you get your first check or two and you think you're cool as shit, but like, it takes longer than you think it does, you know, than you think it should. And so sometimes progress seems slow, but then, you know, at times you look back and you're just like, oh, you know, I got money in the bank. I got work on the books. I got a cool studio. Like, you know, I'm not tripping about nothing, but I don't know. Ambitious people, it's always like you're always a little disappointed with your achievements, I guess.
I think part of that too is we don't realize what achievement kind of really is. I think we think like what we see as achievement is like the outrageous achievement that we, I guess, are used to seeing on like a TV, if you will. Whereas when we can just sustain ourselves and we realize like, damn, I'm pretty good, and I got this shit flowing. I got a studio, bills, I got this, and my lady friend, this and that. Like, I'm actually pretty good right now. Like, I actually own my shit and my ideas, and I invest in it throughout my journey. Like, but it's my journey, you know. But trading that energy off, like you said, for somebody else's energy is. To put it in somebody else's shit is mind blowing.
Right, but and then to overcome the hurdles too, though.
Yeah, the hurdles.
So that's why
that's one thing.
It seems like here's the key. That's why you got to get into something that you genuinely like doing. I get that now, because if it was something that you like, let's say I just wanted to get into making toothpicks, And it was, but then I had ups and downs in that field. If me starting a toothpick business. No, I'm serious.
Hey, shit, that's probably $1 billion industry.
Somebody making toothpicks in this motherfucker.
Somebody on the island right now of toothpicks.
Right. But imagine, you know what I'm saying? So I would just imagine that I wouldn't want to forget what the fuck I'm talking about right now.
About doing something that you're interested in.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Because
like toothpicks.
So I don't give a fuck about toothpicks. And like, damn, the market goes down or I lose a lot of money. Then you're going to be like, man, fuck this and quit. Because I don't give a fuck about toothpicks. But then let's say it was something about, 2K or something, and I really had a passion for that, and you start a business or you start putting all your energy into that, and then you have one of those down days where the market is fucked up and, but you love it anyway, so you're just going to do it regardless.
You going to 2K that shit out?
That's what I'm saying. So you're going to overcome the obstacles easier if you give a fuck about what it is you're going after. Right? You guys agree with that?
I would, but to be honest, I'd say too, like just on the spirit of entrepreneurship, that with me, a lot of it kind of boiled down to just like seeing opportunities and like it was close enough to something I was interested in. Like I think if I really was like, oh, just whatever I love to do and stuff, like I'd probably be at home playing video games trying to make it off Twitch or something.
That's
but
a good
like,
point.
I didn't, before building this space, like I wasn't like, oh my God, I love podcasting, but I love video. I like the idea of podcasting. I like the medium, and I saw kind of an opportunity there.
Right.
And that's like, so many people, you could start your own thing. You don't have to like be super, like toothpicks, right? Like if you're super passionate about toothpicks.
Shout out to toothpicks.
Shout out to toothpicks. Sometimes the one with the mint, they got the mint in them.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, you could, but it's like there's so many just like service-based things that like anyone can kind of hop into. And like you're saying like, you got to be super into it. Like 90% of people don't like really love their job and they're not that crazy about it. Then it's like you could just work for yourself, still have that same level of like, I like this enough. This is good enough for me, but not be like super passionate. But there's the added bonus of like, I don't have to, work for somebody else. For
oh, man.
Right.
So can we talk about that?
Yeah.
Can we please talk about getting over that wanting to have like to work for someone else? That's the feeling that has changed since 2020 for me, is changing my mind that I am no longer going to work for someone else. I'm going to work for my own energy. And
it's all about energy. It's no disrespect.
Right. No disrespect.
It's energy.
And I realized I would much rather, I'd rather make $50,000 on my own time than make, $75,000 on someone else's. I really believe that. I would much rather have the freedom to do whatever the fuck that I want to do when I want to do it and make the decisions of my life energy for less money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's funny. I just had a homegirl who just regressed from that.
What do you mean?
So she kind of had a couple years where she was wanting to get out of the corporate world and kind of see her passion and kind of, set stuff up for herself. And recently she just got back into it. You're like, you know what? I kind of just want somebody to tell me what to do, like with your job, make the money, make the sales. And then when I clock out, I have nothing else to do. Like, I don't want to have to do that anymore.
Do you think that has anything to do with...
I think it's what she is in life.
You think there's anything to do with masculinity and femininity? Like, would you say that men typically like to conquer?
No, I don't think that. She wanted to... I think women like to conquer their goals, too, and what's their imagination, too. But I think that she also... Well, I'll say this. She does have this womanly role where she wants to be a mother and have that family role and have that be something
which is powerful as
right,
fuck.
which is super powerful,
Right.
which is something that always plays in the play. So it's like that's a part of, and I think that ties into settling down. Like when you are not necessarily wanting to put the energy in that part of it's like, I don't want to have to think about this. I just want to have to clock in, clock out, and then focus on something else. So it was like, I was like, oh, okay.
I get the philosophy, but personally, just how my brain works, I would much rather always be thinking about it, but thinking about it when I want to.
Right.
It's
me
hard,
too.
Though, man.
Huh?
When I'm gonna agree with you, and like I think on her take, like maybe it's like a settling down, like if I was gonna have a family and stuff. But I always tell my girlfriend we'll go on like vacation and shit, and she's basically I'm not having as much of a good time as she is, and I'm like, I'm losing money being here because I'm not working. I'm thinking about work. And like it's costing me money to be here. Like vacations don't quite feel like vacations. It's like I gotta still be working, and like PTO, like what the fuck is that? Like,
Paid time off. Yeah.
Shit about
yeah.
that.
It's like all of that does not exist when you're working for yourself.
Yep.
And I'm sure you can relate that. Like, there's plenty of nights that you're probably sitting in bed just like thinking about the next steps for you. Like, if you're not moving the wheels of your own life, like no one else is pushing that shit for you.
It's a crazy experience. You know what? I'm so fucking tired right now. I have not slept in the past couple of nights because I am thinking so much about growing my business and like how many different steps I have to take to really logistically do shit. And I love it, but I'm so fucking tired because my wheels always have to be turning. So it was just interesting. I am the same way as you. Like, that's just how my mind works. But I understood where she was in her life when she told me that. And that's why I was like, okay. Although I don't think she's gonna stick to that. I think it's gonna burst out regardless. But you know
so you think she's gonna eventually?
Oh yeah, I throw little shit at her all the time because you can't help but have an imagination, man. You ain't gonna succumb to that. You ain't gonna succumb to just clocking in and clocking out with somebody. That's why I say where she is, and she probably
her mental journey.
When you think about it, man, when we go for shit, how often do we really go for shit before we like expect something to really happen? We really go for shit like one time and be like, oh man, it ain't work, it ain't like that's it. But we realize like we living a long ass time.
Right.
Shit don't supposed to necessarily pop out the first, second, third, fourth. Like you supposed to always just fucking go.
In fact, it never does go.
Right. Like that's the thing. Like why do we expect the first thing, even relationships, just or trying to start a business or do anything?
Anything. We just want to.
Like it's.
We
Like,
like our
you know how many
attention
times,
spans
right?
and
Like,
shit.
come on now, like it's like hunger. You have to keep feeding that.
But
shit.
here's the good news is, so we know a lot of people think that way, right?
Yeah.
Like probably most people. But if you can break out of that mindset, then now you automatically shoot up to the top 10% of people. You know what I'm saying? You automatically shoot right up to the top if you just understand that most people are like that.
Right.
And all you have to do is just try to find a way to change your philosophy mindset to get to like what other people do.
Right.
And to go back to the distractions again, I'm so, just like what you said, I feel like I'm fucking up when I'm and this, I know this is fucked up because I do want to have some leisure time. But I'll even think in my leisure time, like, damn, man, is this time that could be spent better for me? And I think about that often. And then sometimes I'll be like, yes. But then sometimes I'm like, no.
Right.
But I do ask myself that question all the time, which I think is a positive.
Yeah.
It's like, damn, can I be using my time a little bit better? No, but I'm going to do it anyway. You know what I'm saying? But at least now I'm aware. I just want to be aware.
Yeah.
Talk about awareness.
Being aware.
Now, so as far as awareness, though, how important on the scale of what, like, would you say having self-awareness is one of the most important things a person
I've always said this my whole life. I've never wanted to, my goal has never been to be like the smartest person in the world or anything like that. I've always just wanted to be the most aware. I didn't know what that meant when I was younger or anything, but I just want to be aware of like everything.
Like are you woke?
I guess that was the term that came out of it later in life, but like I just wanted to be aware of shit. Like I just didn't want to be bamboozled by the universe. Like I just wanted to know what the fuck this was while I was here.
You know, there's a whole community called the Red Pill community that considers themselves like that.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, where they just feel like they're seeing things for reality versus the fluffery of
It's
existence.
a practice though. That's even a journey because like that's a muscle. I learned that like that's a characteristic of myself now that I've developed, that I train myself to think like that. So that even when I respond, it's because I think like that.
Right.
You know? So it's a muscle just like everything else that you practice.
Right. Do you ever meditate?
Oh, yeah, all the time. Every day, actually.
No, like, okay, well, I guess we all
I model,
meditate.
so I'm meditating all the fucking time.
What are you doing when you're meditating and when you're modeling?
Are
you focusing on
I'm
breathing,
focusing on
or
my
you-
body a lot, actually.
Okay.
My body, actually, because I'll give you an example. This is one of my poses that I'm doing right now from one of my sculptor classes. So I got one pose like this, right? 25 minutes for this one is 2 hours, right? This muscle right here going fucking ham in about 10 minutes.
Right, I got you.
You know what I mean? So I'm working on my feet. One part of my foot is getting numb. I'm working on balance. How do I move without moving?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like so many things. My eyes. How do I keep from? Is my eyes moving this way? Is it twitching? It's so many things that you're thinking about with your body balance, and it's such like muscles that you've never even thought about using, or that even existed, that you have to balance yourself with. So I practice that every time I model, pretty much.
Right, so and that's a
It's
form
like
of
a
meditation
body,
because you're bringing does your mind never wander from that?
Always.
Right, so you have to remember. Oh wait, I gotta.
Always. Your body gonna let you know too. You gotta remember that shit.
Yeah. Do you ever meditate, Tom?
Nah. I probably should though. You know,
I bet you I can tell you times
things
where you meditate and you don't realize you're meditating.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Like editing.
That's what I'm telling you.
I don't know.
I promise you, this is what's happening when you edit. Because I've edited. I know. You edit, correct?
Yeah.
Right.
He's
It's
like, no, that's not fucking.
Would you say there's moments when you're editing that you get into a quote flow state
Come on now.
where you just crank and just buy idea.
Nah, for sure.
And then you'll have a moment where you like all of a sudden thinking about something else.
Sure.
Let's say, oh shit, I'm hungry. And then, but you say, wait, go back. So then you go back to focusing, then you have your flow state, and then you lose it again inevitably, and you just keep doing that. Every time you do that, you are now refocusing, and that's meditation.
All right.
So you probably do it way more.
I do meditate.
Right. You have your journey that you're going on, so you have meditation process.
Yeah, it's like whenever you
just gave you meditation.
Yeah, real talk.
Thank you.
Whenever you focus on one thing and then you lose focus, and then you come back to that same thing that you're focusing on, that is, and you repeatedly do that, that's considered meditation at the grand scheme of things. Technically, the definition says deep thinking, which it is deep thinking, but you're trying to focus the thinking. That's the whole. And then to notice, here's where the real game is, to notice that you don't really have control over that.
Yeah. You don't really have control over that? Over what?
Like when he's in a flow, he'll be in a flow state, and then you're like, man, you feel so focused, and every click, it all makes sense, and all of a sudden you'll lose focus, right? Yeah. You didn't want to lose focus. You was in flow state. You wanted to keep it going. If you could choose to be like that, you would do it forever. Why would you ever stop being in flow state? But sometimes distractions are in life, and so the whole idea of meditation is to notice that we have no control over it. So then when you have these moments, you can easily get back in or out of them because they're not really yours to begin with. Right. Which is crazy. Maybe that's some
no, I like it.
But it makes sense.
I like it.
Because we can sit here and talk about how about this? I can change what you're thinking about instantly. So you think about this wall, and I'm gonna say elephant. Now you just thought about an elephant. So you can't even control your thoughts 90% of the time. So when you notice that, and the more I notice that, the more I notice like, oh. So when I have like these weird feelings and shit and thoughts that I have, it's like easy for me to be like, oh wait, that's not even my thought. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't have to be attached to that thought. And that's like a powerful weapon because now I feel like I'm a lot calmer with people. I feel like if I'm driving on the road, I feel like my road rage just went down like 99% because of that.
Does it allow you to continue on your journey without letting life distract you?
Yes.
And that's the real meditation of life, is just continuing with your journey without distractions.
Yep.
Okay, got you.
Right? But sometimes those distractions actually can clutch you sometimes.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
sometimes
it's just the part of the journey is like the addition to it, and not distraction necessarily. But that's a whole flow. That's a whole other flow of life. Distractions is asshole. But the additions of life, like he was talking about too, with that taking shit on in life, not knowing what's going to be a part of your journey. I think that's a big part of it too. Like you said, you didn't know you were going to be necessarily podcasting, but you know that you wanted to be behind the mic with it, doing the video. No? Is that what it was?
No. I don't want to sound like, corporate greed here, but it was like I knew that we were talking about entrepreneurship. Like when I started this, I knew that there was an opportunity in it, and that I had a lot of this stuff, and it was like an easy thing to get under it. And so,
would you consider yourself like an audio file or a video file?
No, to be honest, like no, a little bit, but no.
Yeah.
Is that kind of disappointing? I'm sorry.
No. I love it because for me,
this story sucks.
No, I love it. It actually flows well because for me, I think this is the lost art, and this is the most important thing. Entrepreneurship is a fucking art. Like piecing that shit together, figuring out what industry is what, having the social skills to know that something is about to come and I can use something for this to gain actual energy, which is money. Like that's a fucking art. All of this shit is artistic as fuck. We need to respect this shit, and it's the most respected one because it's gaining actual money and value, giving it out to people. So,
when I like doing this, I want to be clear. Like this is another. There are two spheres of like what I totally want to do and like what is actually feasible enough to like make money, and this is like a good chunk of overlap there, but not like I'm not living, breathing podcasts for my entire life. Like I produce videos for a living for businesses. And
that's what I would say. That's what I thought you did. You were like a video production guy.
That's what really.
Well, that's what you meant, like audio.
Like to me, I figured this was just a little.
That's accurate. This is not paying the bills as much as the other thing is.
No, yeah, right.
And
but
so
it's a new.
it's a
like
new
you
thing.
said, a
Yeah,
new thing
sure.
that's obviously
It's
It's
one of your
a
tentacles.
complementary service, you know. It's like very similar. Like I was in the recording industry. Like I know microphones. I know all that goes into this, so it kind of made sense. Like it was just like a separate little sister business that made sense for me.
Right.
And like I like doing video. Like there's, you know, again, that it definitely is a passion of mine and something that I like doing. But I think the second you do anything purely, or, you know, not purely, but for a living, it is tough to really view it as like a passion and just like a hobby now. Like there's, you know, I do video for a living, but I find myself like I don't go out and just like I don't have a video camera with me all the time. Like I don't
like you used to.
Sometimes, you know, you do
I
it for
used to
work.
do that.
It's like
so like you used to do it a lot more.
yeah. Imagine like if you did podcasts 8 hours a day.
Right.
The last thing you're gonna want to do when you get home is podcast. Like even if that's what you like to do and stuff like that, there's only so much. So
Yeah, because you want to get away
You
from
need a
it.
break from what you have to get a break from the energy that you're expending so much energy into that. You have to get a break from that energy too. Yeah.
That's what this whole shit is.
Yeah.
To
Throwing
me,
your energy around.
That's all it is. Literally, that's all it. I can't think of anything deeper than that because it's like the amount of energy that you expend to anything. The more you do it, the more energy comes back in some way, shape, or fold.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it's going to. So the more you laser focus the energy on anything, it tends to come to fruition.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm so sold on that idea.
Right.
And then if you don't focus on the energy as far as the money, right? If you don't necessarily focus on it, but you have more of your focus on the fact that I love videoing, I feel like then the energy will come back. It'll come to you naturally because of how much energy you've expended into it.
And I think you also have to be aware of how the money is being made within it. I think that's part of the energy too, if we're still talking about the same thing. Like setting your shit up so that it can be ready to receive the money. You know what I mean? So like for instance, let's say platforms before, or Instagram for instance, before they started paying you for your content and shit. Having it on there, being a platform for you to view things socially and whatnot, but not to monetize necessarily. So then transitioning to something like an NFT market where you can actually monetize it. So just being aware of different things where you can start setting shit up so that you can actually receive the energy is important too.
Right, and even with your brain though, right?
Yeah.
So even if you want to get some information, energy into your brain, but you got it blocked by something else, it's not gonna get in there.
Right.
It's like the same thing. So whatever's blocking, you can get the energy. I feel like I can use energy in all aspects of life, even sexual. The more energy I'm serious. The more energy I put into that, the more vicious it is. So I'm extremely focused on this energy thing lately, and I just got done reading this book called Manifesting with Alignment, and it's making you just think about. And I used to think it was like foo-foo, but it's not foo-foo. It's aligning your mindset to the things that you desire. And so what I'm trying to do is, because I'm breaking years of bad, like a lot of bad mindsets, a lot of, according to my opinion, bad mindsets with bad habits, with bad these, and I feel like part of my journey is like cracking that code, whatever it is, and figuring out the better code. It might not ever be an exact one, but the more I try to uncrack myself, the better I feel. And I feel like entrepreneurship actually forces you to do that.
Right.
You have to like know who the fuck you are and what you're good at, and you have to really ask yourself the questions and.
Yeah. You got to really structure it and research it.
You know what I'm saying? Like entrepreneurship.
Organize it and present it and market it and
I
sell
heard
it.
Jim Rome said, if you work, this is a crazy quote, if you work on your career, you'll make a great living. But if you work on yourself, you'll make a great fortune. Hey. My bad for interrupting the podcast, but I gotta throw a little bit of love to CARESNONE.com. You can go in there and get links to the social medias. You got your Instagrams, you got your TikToks, you got your YouTubes, you got all kind of stuff on there. You got links to the wing review. You got links to the audio and video version of the podcast. all kind of stuff on there. And most importantly to me, which is very important to me, is you get your merchandise on there. You can get you a Be Dope shirt just like this. Join the movement. There's a lot of people joining this movement right now. You should be a part of it. And I would really appreciate if you'd be a part of it. This serves as a daily reminder to be the best version of yourself and not give a damn about what these other people think about what it is you want to do to be the best version of yourself. And for the people watching this right now, use promo code podcast and you'll get 20% off your order right now. Right now. For all the people who are watching the podcast, you get 20% off right now. Promo code podcast. Thank you. See you next time. Now back to the podcast. And I feel like, let me ask you, because I already know your answer. What about you, Tom? Do you feel like entrepreneurship has forced you to know more about yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Do you like that feeling?
Yeah, I mean, I want to say like yes and no, because I think that we at the beginning, you know, like it's kind of like a constant stress. And like when you run your own thing, you know, I think for people that have like typical jobs and stuff like that, work is like work. And then everything after that is like, I can do whatever you want. You're like, party. Work paid for this, whatever. Yeah. And like, I'm not saying anything about people that like do that, but I decided I wanted to, you know, do my own thing. And it wasn't because like I couldn't work for somebody or I couldn't handle the thought of like, you know, being an employee. It wasn't that as much as just like, hey, like I think I can do this and like why would you not? You know? And like I think for people that want to make big money, that's the only way really to do it. Honestly, to some degree, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It's a little stressful here and there, but no regrets.
Right.
Like, you know, it's I'm happy with my decisions.
I like it. And I think also a part of that is like the amount of energy that you want to accumulate. Like he said, through ownership and entrepreneurship, that's really the only way you're really going to attain wealth.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? Working for somebody, you're really not. But if that's not your goal, is to accumulate that much energy, then...
So let me ask you this. Would you say wealth is... Damn, this is a crazy thought. Would you say wealth is really just one big-ass like energy bank?
I mean, you look at who's our guy with Warren Buffett, you know, or somebody like that. Like he just has a lot of fucking energy to expend anywhere he wants to.
So literally, his wealth comes down to like, so to me, wealth is almost just like a big, like your personal container of energy that you can like store.
Yeah, you can.
And that's actually the whole thing right now with Bitcoin and artwork. Did you realize? I didn't know that.
What?
Motherfuckers just like big artwork. I always wonder like how the fuck a painting go for $5 million?
Yeah,
right?
Beeble sold for $69 million.
Right. But you know what they're doing?
It's called tax evasion.
Yes. No, real talk. That's what a lot of them are doing. They buy these and there's ways to get around the weird taxes because it's considered art.
They do.
But that's where but NFT is going to change that whole game.
Yeah.
Right? Because now you can make a fake version of one of these $16 million ones. Mm-hmm. So that would probably make that field a lot harder to navigate, to police.
That's the one that's going to lead the whole industry.
Right, is the art, and it's starting already with the artwork.
Yeah.
So now the new not Leonardo, but one of them, you know, Michelangelo kind of artworks is going to be like these crypto punks. Mm-hmm. Like, damn, I got the Michelangelo with this shit. And that's where they're going to try to put their money. Yeah. So I'm like, I didn't. It's all digital stuff. So you put all your energy into these things, and then there's ways to like manipulate it to get even more energy. Mm-hmm. Which and all you're doing is just taking pieces of other people's energy. Yeah. Because they're putting money into a situation, and you're just trying to collect it. Mm-hmm. And it all just comes down to energy.
And we all just trying to get a piece of it.
Right?
And we all just trying to get a piece of our own like version of it too.
Think about when you're waking up in the morning.
It's a piece of our version of it.
And when you have energy, you feel better. And when you don't have energy, you don't even feel good, right? You're like, damn, I'm kind of tired. And you don't feel like shit, you know? But then when you have energy, you're like, damn, all right, let's go fucking take care of it. So it's like, man, all of it's energy, man. And it's like crazy. So then you wonder why you eat shitty food, you don't have energy, and you don't take medicines, and then you drink alcohol, and then you know what I'm saying? It's like all that's doing is fuck with my energy. And I still make a lot of these bad decisions, but I'm saying, so I'm purposely don't give a fuck about my energy when I just do dumb shit all the time. That's what I'm telling myself. Right. Oh, you don't care about your energy. You don't give a fuck. And when you know that's what makes you feel good. Mm-hmm. Like even expending energy to go to the gym, like that takes a big squirt of energy in one moment, right? And it's like, fuck, you physically doing it. But then the amount of how you feel after is like exponentially worth that energy expenditure of an hour. But so then why not do that all the time when you know how good it feels? You know how if you just do this hour, I know it's fucked up, but then you're gonna feel godly the rest of the night. And you know the more you add those in a row, the more vicious that gets. Then you get the compounding interest, as Tom was talking about. So all of a sudden now you 6 months in, you didn't hit it 95%, and you did it. Now look at how good, how really good you feel, and then you add 2 years, and then, but then it's hard to start the one sometimes.
Right.
In the beginning.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We gotta get.
When you said a lot of people like give up, I think it it kind of makes sense too that like, and frankly, I'm not going to talk on fitness stuff because I don't participate very well in that either. But it's the same kind of idea where it's like, oh, you work out like a week and like you say like you feel better after. Like plenty of people, myself included, sometimes feel shitty after workout. It's like, damn, that was like tough and like your body hurts and stuff like that. I think there's obviously the endorphins of like, I did a good job. That was a good thing and all that. But for people that don't, like, it's that compound stuff. Like, oh yeah, I went to the gym for a week. It was a shitty week. All those workouts sucked. My body hurt. I felt bad. And like, I looked the same. So I'm going to stop doing that. Like you really do have to like kind of commit for the long haul. It is about compound and stuff. And it's about little itty bitty baby steps. Like I follow a lot of fitness people because I work with them. And like this guy in particular, he'll post like photos like 3 years apart and stuff like that. And he's like vegan only kind of guy. But like you can just see the crazy like muscles that this guy puts on. And like he, his whole life is fitness. Like he trains people. That's his job. Like he, and it's still just like he's still not at the peak yet, which is crazy to me. Cause like, you'd look at this guy and you'd be like, damn, he has everything, right? At least fitness wise.
Right.
But like, now he doesn't view it like that. Like it's just still like just little itty bitty baby steps.
Which means he like genuinely wants to be that, right? He genuinely wants to be in fitness.
Oh yeah. No. Like
imagine if you didn't really give a fuck about fitness and then you got to those.
You couldn't. Like
you have to go hard body.
He definitely is, as you're saying, like he probably likes working out, and then when he's done with it, he's happy too. But yeah, there's no part of him that's faking that act, especially to hit to the level that he's hit. Like and the same thing with like Warren Buffett. Like I was talking about, like doing some stuff that is interesting enough, but like can pay some bills. Like Warren Buffett, he doesn't need to be working. Like people at that level, but he genuinely likes it. That's.
He likes the
key.
finance game, right?
Yeah, that's his game.
Right.
That's his whole journey market.
Like I was saying, for me personally, the thing that I enjoy doing the most, regardless of anything else on earth, is interacting with people. That's like my favorite thing. I like interaction. And oddly enough, and I just thought about this recently, I kind of like trying to control it, but for the betterment of everybody. Even like when I played basketball on 2K or in real life, I enjoyed being the point guard, right? The guy who facilitates, like, trust me, I got this, but I'm gonna make sure we all good. And I never wanted to score 30, never cared, but we talked about that. Yeah. I never wanted to score 30. I don't need the accolades, but I do want to control it, but we all can eat. I've always felt that way. And I feel like that's kind of what I'm trying to do with this brand.
Right, that's what you're gonna do.
Isn't that crazy? How it just naturally comes to fruition, because I don't really give a fuck who's winning. I just want everyone to win. I just like let me do that for us. That's kind of how I feel.
I think you want to be the ambassador for it. Yeah, you want to be the ambassador.
But I equally want motherfuckers to crush though. Right. I want to make that very clear.
The ambassador of crushing it.
Come on,
y'all crushing it.
He said the ambassador of crushing it.
You gotta write that.
I gotta write that down.
The ambassador of crushing it, right? That's
right down. I just stole your idea, D.
Steal all that shit. Punchlines galore.
Anyways, but
the ambassador of crushing it.
Hold on, I'm gonna
no, seriously.
Ambassador. How you spell ambassador?
It'll spell it for you.
Ambassador.
We live in a different time. Remember those spelling bee charts we used to have to do, little sketches?
What about math? You good at math?
After fourth. After they started putting letters and shit in there, it was a wrap.
Well, so you don't like
once the Greeks got involved?
You haven't had to do algebra in your adult life? That's ridiculous. I assumed that they taught you that because you'd be doing algebra all the time.
Yeah, I thought so too. But damn, I think once they started,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Hey, what about logarithms?
What's that?
I remember they tried to have us studying that shit. And I'm like,
some
what?
Square root shit,
Oh my goodness, I fucked with the pi for a little bit.
Yeah, what was it
3.14?
Yeah, that's all I know. So I know that, and I know 1 + 1 = 2. My math skills. My point is, my math skills is trash. trash.
You know, zeros and ones.
I barely know that. But Steve, so Steve's math skills is
impeccable.
Is ridiculous. Like crazy. You give him something crazy, and he'll be like, he like figures it out. Mm-hmm. I'm like, damn, that's crazy how your brain works that way, and mine I do not compute at that level. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? But my brain naturally computes when it comes to interactions with people, and I wouldn't necessarily say that was his number one come up.
Right.
So like mathematics,
I think that's always interesting for a person like yourself and your specific brand, because you're trying to influence people socially. So like Steve, his greatest asset is like, well, not greatest, but one of his greatest assets would be like math or something like that, you know? But that's not really a social entity or a thing like that. Your greatest skill is something that's social, where it's like crowd gathering, crowdsourcing, thing like that. So it's like it's interesting how you have to play it versus how a person like him has to play it.
It's all just energy at the end of the day. His energy is focused there, and my energy is focused here.
Yeah. It's just interesting how that energy is played out, because it's all just like you said, his energy versus versus your energy. You know what I mean?
Right.
And how you put it out, because he can put his, whole entity that he has, because he has a lot going on too.
Right.
And he's putting that out into his own way. It's just not like socially like yours in that way.
Right.
Social aspects to it, but
he's about to get into the social media game.
Yeah. I saw you got him.
It's called shout out to Bubble Time Bets, or Bath Time Bubble Bets. There you go. Bath Time Bubble Bets.
So what's the story on that?
I think it's dope. I don't even know if I should. I forgot. I'm Mr. CARESNONE. So he likes to make sports book bets. Mm-hmm. Right. He understands. He's done well and shit in that space.
Yeah.
So he was like, well, I do this every day. Like, I understand this shit. It's naturally fun to him. Mm-hmm. He goes, why? He saw a field where he's going to literally be the guy in a bathtub and set his bathroom up as like a bar, like where he's watching the games with bubbles and shit. And he's just going to be that guy who's just giving like sports book betting with the bubbles.
Right.
Like,
the bubbles are crucial.
Yeah, the bubbles. No, it's super crucial. That's
absolutely,
because it's niche as hell, and it's something that he enjoys to do already. He's just putting the content out. He don't got to act.
That's all you got to do.
He don't got to fake. He could just be himself, and it's just interesting.
Yeah,
it probably would have gone better if he was like a hot girl.
Oh, of course, but it would definitely work.
That would definitely work.
But I think that would be the joke, because there's other motherfuckers that I've seen online, especially on TikTok, where they're literally being ridiculous on purpose.
Yeah.
And they people fucking with them. So it's like, it don't matter what it is that you do at this point.
Yeah.
Whatever you love to do, put that shit on social media. Mm-hmm. And now it's about to transform to your own thing.
Yeah.
But for right now, create content to some degree.
Content is king.
And be crazy, I think, is the thing.
Yeah, real talk though.
Rappers, it's like, get a face tattoo. Your chances of making it colorful hair go up. You know?
Right. Or just put it on your avatar, your 3D avatar. Don't put it on yourself. You can.
What you mean?
Well, we're gonna have the 3D characters.
Oh, you're talking about eventually. Right.
Eventually, so.
But you gotta But how about this? You say you're about to get into the business of helping businesses start fund, right?
Yeah.
So the point I'm making is now that you're like knowing about that, and then you have to put it on social media so people will know what the hell, if he knows what he's talking about. Mm-hmm. So if somebody says, man, like, imagine if you didn't have that out right now, and you're like trying to start this business on business marketing, and you don't got nothing out, then people they're not gonna fuck with you, because there's another motherfucker who put it out.
And that's why content is key. Content is key, because like, it's a new day and age. This brick and mortar shit is gonna be obsolete.
You have to
have content. Yeah.
In order to thrive in this world.
Yeah, you got to put some shit out there if you really want to.
You agree with that, Tom? You got to create content, no matter what it is that you're about.
I make money off people they're saying just what you're saying. So yes,
Right.
Make content and pay me to do it.
Right.
No, but real talk though, because you want your shit to be nice, right? You want good energy behind your shit. You got to go to someone else who's putting good energy behind their craft. So then you want to compensate that.
Yeah.
I wish I understood that back in the day about like getting hookups and shit like that. Mm-hmm. Because I used to look at it as money and not as energy. That's why I don't want to waste people's time, because I look at it as energy, and I know how hard that shit is to come by.
Right.
So if I say if I'm like a hard date, I'm gonna be here, or a hard time 6:30. I'm trying my hardest. I'm gonna really try my hardest to get there. I don't want to disrespect your time.
Right.
I don't want to say something I'm not gonna do. I'm not gonna attach myself. So if it's something I don't want to do, I'm gonna say no, because I don't want to waste no one's time. Wait. And I'm trying to teach myself not to waste my own fucking time. Because, you know what I'm saying? I'll treat everyone else with fucking respect and dignity, but not yourself. Think about that shit. A lot of us do that shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just heard this shit the other day, like, as far as regarding your focus, right? To guard it. We guard our fucking cars, we lock it. We guard our apartments, we lock it. We got passwords on the motherfucking, on your apps so nobody can get in. You got passwords on your phone, lock it, So we guard the hell out of all these other things and other people. Like, I wouldn't let no one fuck with you, D. I swear to God, we fighting. I got your back, I swear to God. I would never let anyone intentionally do anything to you ever. It wouldn't happen, right? And I think you believe that. But I won't treat myself with that respect. There's certain things I wouldn't give you, but I would do it to myself, though. Think about how crazy that sounds.
Right.
I'm not saying don't be that nigga, be that way to that motherfucker too, but you can also treat yourself the exact same way.
Exactly.
As far as talk about being confident, like, I'm trying to break down, like, I've been told I'm confident my whole life, but then I'm like, damn, y'all, and I'm still working on my own confidence. So I'm trying to understand this confidence issue. And I think I figured it out. I think I figured this shit out. Confidence is when you make a promise to yourself and you fulfill it. That is where confidence comes from. When you stand strong on when you say you gonna do it, and then you do it, you can confidently expect yourself to come through. Confidently. Now imagine you tell, I'm gonna do this, and you don't do it. Oh, I'm gonna do this, and you don't do it. You don't have confidence in your word. Your word has you have no confidence because
you don't show up.
Right, which is 2022's word. CARESNONE word is the art of showing up. But it's like, so that's where confidence. So that's why I understand where the goals and shit comes in now. Even small goals. The more you say, I'm gonna hit that, and then you hit it, that's adding to your self-confidence goal,
right.
your
right.
jar.
Those small little gems of,
And you add those wins. And then going back to what Tom said, the compounding interest of the fact that you've been confident with your words to yourself. And now all of a sudden you 3 years in on being confident of your word.
Right.
Think about, like, for instance, me and Steve, right? That's my brother to the end of the world. Like, there ain't nothing getting in the way of me and Steve. And I feel like I know why. It's because for 26 years, I have had the utmost confidence in him.
Right.
He ain't never put me in a shitty situation. We ain't never got in an argument over nothing dumb. Like, it's for 25 plus years, him and I have both had pure confidence in each other. But do we have pure confidence in ourselves, though? That's crazy. And the reason why is because you just always come through. Just come through. When you say you're going to do something, you do it. So the more you do that, the more confident you can become.
Right.
Because I'm not saying we all do it all the time.
I think confidence is something that could be cool to push too. Specifically.
What you mean?
I like that. Like, just going into, I'm thinking about CARESNONE a lot, and just going into the confidence field, like leading with, maybe that's the pain point that people struggle with, is confidence. And that beginning hurdle, like that we said before, all of the other journey steps, maybe the leading one is just the confidence part of it. And like you just broke confidence down, what it is consistently getting those smaller wins. So maybe it's about preaching those smaller wins. Yeah,
so do you think, so at the core principle of what, at least at the moment, what I thought CARESNONE is for me, is the reason why people don't do these little things is a lot of times, not all the time, but a lot of times they're worried about what other people think.
All the time, I believe.
You know what I'm saying? So we don't do these things a lot. Maybe you're just too tired to do some shit. Maybe you're lazy,
Okay.
but there's a huge percentage of people that wouldn't mind trying shit, but they don't want to do it because they don't want to look stupid.
Right. I think it's probably a combination of things then, because I think that is a huge issue within it. That's a huge pain point. But also the confidence is a huge one too. I think it's a combination of those, and those two need to be manicured together, because you have to have the confidence first, a lot of the wins and shit, so then you not even give a fuck about what the people are thinking. Or just work on both of those, simultaneously. But I like that part of it too for you.
Yeah, well, and that's definitely just part of the journey. Because listen, what CARESNONE's about.
That's what I love about it. Yeah,
it's a lifestyle brand ultimately.
So confidence is, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's the thing. Right. This is the thing. That's the thing.
But when people tell me I'm confident, I'm like, okay, let me try to understand what the fuck this is.
And that's when you go crazy with the CARESNONE section on the confidence.
Right.
And everybody just, what is confidence? Let's go ahead and get this whole thing figured out together. Let's go on a journey with this. And branding, man. Because it's a lifestyle. You're a social, like, orchestrator. You know what I mean? You're getting people tapped into different parts of themselves. So just create different entities of that. And allow people to tap into what we're gonna question this today. We're gonna question this one. We're gonna question this one.
Right, and just kind of hit at that because that's ultimately
hit it like you can't miss, my nigga.
But I mean, yeah, it definitely makes sense. It just have different.
That way you can really go. You can really compartmentalize. I've been on that lately. Compartmentalize your just your thoughts and you can really structure your shit. Really structure. It's therapy. This is all therapy.
Which is what I'm doing anyway.
This is all therapy, bro.
I know. I actually want to get a therapist. I think maybe we talked about this. Have you ever spoke to a therapist?
Write that shit out.
No. Have you ever spoke to a therapist? Neither have I. And I remember being younger, having this idea of, if therapy, like I'm talking younger, like I'm 37 now, so I'm talking 13, 14, 15, young. I'm like, damn, if you need a therapist, maybe you kind of something wrong. It was like this negative connotation. And then the more I've gotten older and deep dived into what the fuck it is, and then the stresses of life start hitting you, and you're like, oh, okay, I can see how niggas, why motherfuckers want somebody to talk to who has studied how to help you get through that shit. Right. I'm like, so wait, why does this look stupid? Nigga, don't you want to kill your fucking self, and you laughing at this motherfucker because he also wants to kill himself, but he doesn't want to do it. Right. So he talks to the motherfucker to help him do. I'm like, oh, therapy is the shit. Oh, man. You know what I'm saying? To be honest, me and Steve every Sunday for fucking 20-something years, we've sat there and watched football. Right, from 12 to 11, so it's a lot of hours every Sunday during football for that many years. It became like a therapy session. I feel for sure, like a legit one, And if two people,
ritual.
It's a definite ritual, and it's two people who genuinely like, I don't want to say figuring life out, getting more woke, just learning more shit,
Right, passing it,
and then we're just spitting that game for all those years every Sunday.
Right,
it's like, oh shit, no wonder we cool like that. Mm-hmm. And it's just so therapy, we're just essentially helping each other go through our problems. Mm-hmm. Ultimately, we still have to make the choices, but it helps to talk to someone about your shit. Right. They shouldn't be looked down upon to go have somebody help you because you're a human being and human beings go through stuff. That's part of the game. So go talk to some. So like for real talk, if you need to talk, don't feel weird. And if you do, because you think motherfuckers think you crazy, that's where CARESNONE is perfect. Mm-hmm. Because fuck what they think, because you trying to get your shit together. You know what I'm saying? So get your shit. Fuck what they think. Fuck what they think. Listen, you'll stop. No, real talk. You'll stop. I heard this somewhere. It was fire. You'll stop giving a fuck about what people think when you realize how seldom they do.
Right, they don't think about you at all, and when they do, it's 3 seconds. Like
it's
they
3
don't
seconds. They forgot. They don't remember your ass, nigga. Like, that's your motherfucking ego thinking that you're a way bigger deal than it is.
You're creating so many stories in your head.
Who's been viewed millions of fucking times, literally. At the end of the day, that's same thing with even with like Coca-Cola. Everyone knows Coca-Cola, but they still keep spending billions of dollars to make sure you know that it's there. Right. Because it's a big fucking deal.
Because the minute they don't, you don't give a fuck about them.
So that proves how much like no one gives a fuck. And listen, it's not because they assholes. No. They're trying to live their life. Think about your life. Whoever's listening and reading this right now, think about your life and how motherfucking big of a deal that feels, right? Everybody on earth got that.
Every single person on earth. That's crazy.
They got their own shit going on,
right. Now imagine
and you got businesses on top of that too, which is a person.
So like for instance, me, I don't got no children, but imagine you double that when you have.
Oh my God.
We have more of those kind of big responsibilities. So that's double. So wherever you are, there's somebody with more vicious responsibilities than you. Think about how powerful that is for them. Right. So they ain't got time to worry about your ass.
They really don't. They really don't.
really
They really don't got time to worry about your ass. And if they do, it's literally a couple seconds. It's really not deep.
I told you
Keep
about
going.
this experiment they did back in the day. It's been years since I brought this up on the podcast, but they took 30 motherfuckers, students. They said, we want you guys to go in here and just learn whatever this professor's teaching. That's all you have to do. Bet. The other part of the experiment was the professor. He had to know his field and teach a class on his field for an hour. Hey. My bad for interrupting the podcast, but I gotta throw a little bit of love to CARESNONE.com. You can go in there and get links to the social medias. You got your Instagrams, you got your TikToks, you got your YouTubes, you got all kind of stuff on there. You got links to the wing review. You got links to the audio and video version of the podcast. All kind of stuff on there. And most importantly to me, which is very important to me, is you get your merchandise on there. You can get you a Be Dope shirt just like this. Join the movement. There's a lot of people joining this movement right now. You should be a part of it. And I would really appreciate if you'd be a part of it. This serves as a daily reminder to be the best version of yourself and not give a damn about what these other people think about what it is you want to do to be the best version of yourself. And for the people watching this right now, use promo code PODCAST and you'll get 20% off your order right now. Right now. For all the people who watching the podcast, you get 20% off right now. Promo code PODCAST. Thank you. See you next time. Now back to the podcast. But you had to wear this like funky looking hat. It was like green, blue. It was like crazy. He was wearing a white coat and crazy rainbow hat. Ridiculous, right? So he goes in there. He starts. He does the whole thing. And he's not allowed to talk about it. And they're not allowed to talk about it. He does the fucking teaching. He comes back in. He asked, so that after the hour, so how do you feel about, how do you feel? He goes, man, I couldn't stop thinking about the hat. Like, people think it looks fucking ridiculous. It's lime green, blue, yellow. He goes, so I really didn't have a good time. I couldn't teach this shit because I was too worried about that, because it's a lime green ass hat. And they was like, interesting. And then they asked the students, and I don't remember the exact number, but it was something along the lines of 70% of them didn't even notice the hat. They asked them, did you notice that hat? 70% of the motherfuckers in there did not even notice the hat. They didn't even know. It wasn't even a thought. To the professor, that's all that he thought that everyone was thinking about. Right. 70% of them did not even know that it existed. So I think that was a powerful moment. And then like the other like 10, 20%, they said, they did notice, but they didn't give a fuck.
Right. It was like, oh yeah, that's kind of.
And then like 1 or 2 per 10%, it was like, yeah, I did notice the fucking ridiculous hat.
And then I still got over it.
And I still got over it.
You know what I'm saying? So think about that. When you really think about it, don't know. That's a crazy. They don't even know.
And even if they do, nobody gives a fuck.
So it's like, man, if
you got a hat.
So do that, y'all. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Because there was moments we'd be doing the wing review, and I remember I had them first little jitters at first. Don't nobody care. Yeah. Most people walk past, and you'll get a few. Right. You'll get a few.
And actually, a lot of people are more interested than you would think. Yeah, we had a lot of people walking up to us and shit, trying to get in the video, trying to grab wings and shit.
They're not like, look at this fucking idiot.
No.
They're like, nobody's thinking.
They're like, damn, this shit is cool. Wait,
no, but they're thinking is, I wonder what's going on.
Yeah, they're like, what the fuck is this? What?
And then they're gonna lose attention.
Yeah.
So it's like motherfuckers are like, let's say you're overweight and want to go to the gym. A lot of people deal with that, especially now, January. And you think, motherfuckers gonna lie. I'm telling you, motherfuckers don't even notice. And then the few that do notice, in the gym, more often than not, them niggas is winners, more often than not. So they too busy focused on getting swole, or they're giving you love for knowing how hard that shit was. When I see a big motherfucker in the gym, my first thought is, my nigga, you killing it.
Right,
That's my first thought.
Right.
Because I believe I'm a fucking winner, and that's what winners think about. You don't think about that hating ass dumb shit that bums.
Exactly.
What? And let's say most people are bums, and that's, who gives a fuck? I'm trying to fuck with the winners.
Right. That's the winner right there.
You know what the fuck with like hating that, like hate. Hate, like all I could do is love feels like the only thing that makes sense to me. Why would you not want it to be like to me? Love feels good. Like, I don't know how it does not register with me how you would want to feel like a love for people. And there's people out there that are like that. And that's just interesting as hell to me. You say you love, like, for the most part, right? Probably 100%.
Oh, yeah.
What about you, Tom? I can't wait to hear his answer.
I agree. Like, I'm not a hater. Like,
no, not a hater. Do you love love?
You love love.
I love love. No, I mean, like,
No, I guess. I don't know. Like, I think that negativity, like, 9 times out of 10 has, like, no place ever. And like you said about the gym, like, yeah, if I saw, like, a heavier guy, I'd be like, my man, go get it. You know, like,
yeah.
Great. And I'd probably give him more attention than, like, everyone else. I'd be like, I'm proud of you. Like,
On some good shit, right?
Yeah. So
You wouldn't be, like, hating, yeah.
No, of course not. Come on.
And I feel like most people in the gym, like, to work on your body, that takes a lot of mental shit, too. So, like, a lot of those people who are, like, super focused on their body, not all the time, but more often than not, they're on the path of self-development to some degree.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? To some degree.
Yeah, they're on the journey.
Right. So it's like, oh, no, they just too worried about trying to get, and they be more willing to help you if you asked.
Yeah.
But they think I used to think that shit. As a matter of fact, Planet Fitness makes money off of that. Because their whole thing is it's actually kind of fucked up if you think about it. Planet Fitness's whole thing it's called no lunk alarm. And then people can go in there and you don't got to worry about the big dudes that are slamming fucking weights and it's none of that. It's like a poised kind of, it's like a diet gym.
Right.
If that makes any sense.
Everyone else just got here last week too, you know?
You know what I'm saying? It's a diet gym. It's cool. You can go in there and that's dope. You get the workout in, but they're fucking with people's like, their confidence. They're making money off of that, which is interesting. I'm not going to judge it. I'm just saying that they're making money off the fact that, no, man, if anything, you should want to go to the place that you're the most uncomfortable and do it all there. And then when you're going to realize it's not nearly what you thought. It's like, we were talking about this earlier, we're always trying to find ways to like make it easier. Like as a human, we're trying to figure out ways to make shit easier.
Right.
And it seems like sometimes that's not sometimes it's the right play, but sometimes it's not. To trying to get the quick route. Sometimes you want to kind of go through the treacherous waters to get there.
And that's always the battle with us too. We're always trying to figure that out. Like, how much do we use of old and how much do we use of new, and how much do you like when? Yeah, how much of ease do you use? How much of ease do you use? That's always a big play.
Talk with me.
How much of ease do you use? I'm trying to let that marinate.
Hey, I'm trying to think about that too, because I think there's something there.
Because, like you said, I mean, there's something to it. You can go a little bit further with utilizing too much and not being able to exercise certain muscles. I
feel like taking the easy route is not as much like character building, right? And so like I don't fault Planet Fitness for being like, hey, it's a judgment-free zone. Like everyone else is like,
that's what it's called.
So like, and I respect that. And from just a general business practice, like easy is like they just want to give that to their customers and stuff like that. And so Planet Fitness, that plays into that. That's the whole thing.
Right.
Like
that's the point I'm making, right?
And and it separates
you just articulated
the herd.
it better than me.
And it separates the herd where it's like, hey, listen, you're like overweight or like never worked out before. Like Planet Fitness is the place for you. Gold's Gym and like big weightlifting place, heavy, powerlifting gyms, they don't fuck around with that shit.
It's for that, yeah.
They obviously play to like a different market, and I think for certain things, easy is better because like again, if for people that are like terrified of going to the gym, and like I'm not like an overweight person, but like I remember when I did go to the gym, being like I'm scrawny, and like people are looking at like I was like issues, I had the wrong form lifting this, like people are probably thinking I'm an idiot here and stuff like. So I think that makes some sense, but sometimes taking the harder route is better character building stuff. There's no doubt about that.
Put it.
Yeah, I feel like what it really is we all have different pain points. And so even somebody standing next to the bodybuilder, that's like, that may not be motivating to them. That might be depleting. So that's where Planet Fitness will come in. It's like, okay, well, I'm not next to this goddamn guy.
No, listen, I get it. And I see why there's a market. And obviously that's why it's thriving. I'm just saying in my personal experience, let's use that field, for instance. So Tavares, is chiseled like ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? He's literally, fitness is his life, and he crushes at it. He literally was the American Ninja Warrior 2 times. Like he's a physical specimen. I'm not that. I'm better than I was by a lot of motherfuckers, but I'm not that. And we were at the gym about a month or two ago, and we both went to the sauna, the hot tub. Right. And me having body image issues for my whole life. Since I was 400 pounds, you know what I'm saying, working on it now, but still having body dysmorphia for sure. Normally, I would have not wanted to be in that situation, and I would have not been in that situation. I would have made sure to not be in that situation, right? Whether Whether I don't just go to the hot tub or maybe I wear a shirt to the hot, anything.
Right.
You find a way to hide from that.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Because I'm so worried about what other motherfuckers think. Right? And that thought crept in. Vicious, and it's powerful thought when you have insecurities. Them motherfuckers, they scream in your motherfucking face like, you hear me? It's vicious. It's a motherfucker. I ain't even gonna stunt.
Oh yeah.
That shit, you have to feel that. Uh-huh. It stings. But it's okay though, because if you can get to a point, maybe you just gotta start small, fine. But if you can get to a point where whatever your biggest motherfucking demon is and you face that motherfucker, so here's what happened. I said, fuck it. And it was screaming the whole time. It was like, yeah. It felt like that the whole time. But I'm sitting next to him, and then check this out. I don't even think he knew what he was doing. We walked into the area where you have to where you can wash your hair and brush your teeth and shit. And it's literally 360 mirrors, so you can't even hide the look. At least walking up, and I'm just being vulnerable as hell right now. No, walking from the hot tub to before the room with all the mirrors. You can fight that demon and it's a motherfucker still, but you don't got to see it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Right. So and it's I'm not gonna stunt. That first one was still fucking. It was screaming. It was screaming. So imagine a motherfucker screaming as you're walking, but you're like, I can take it. Drill sergeant, I can take it. And then you walk into this room where it's like now you got two motherfuckers screaming at you, and then you got to sit there. You got to sit there, and you got to take that shit. Whatever. So that's the feeling that it felt like to me. And the more I sat there and took it. And it did not feel great. It did not feel great, but I promise you on my soul, it felt empowering. It felt like, okay, if I can beat that motherfucking demon, what other demons can I beat?
And that's what it's more importantly about.
Beating whatever, it's your pain points, right? Whatever your motherfucking pain point is, demon, whatever you want to call it. Find ways to hit at that. And the only way that I've seen to beat those is to face them. Is there a way to cheat? It's like you got to pay a price for life, and whatever you got to hit your prices, your cost in order to play life at the level that you want to play it at. So I'm like, damn. So you got to. I remember how I felt in that motherfucking gym or that damn. I'm like, damn. We in this room. I'm like, I swear to God, bro. I was walking and I'm thinking the whole time like. And I'm getting high, look, not high on myself, but like, okay, I could do this, I'm feeling good. And then we go in this room and I'm like, oh, and then it just my feeling went right back to the shitter again.
Wow, yeah.
I'm like, damn. And then I'm like, as I was winning, then boom, like the feeling was so, and it was like a weird lesson in life, but I still did it. Yeah. And then right past that second one, whatever that level is, whatever that level is for you and whatever it is that you're dealing with, if you can just find a way to just put a foot over that, that's where all the good shit is.
Right.
That's where all the good feel. And then there'll be another moment where it'll be your next one, whatever your next thing that you have to work on. That'll come, and then it's going to be a battle.
It's a journey with always figuring out the pain points.
And then as soon as you see, you're gonna face it and then just own that shit, the bliss part.
Yeah.
And that's you gotta keep getting those bliss parts. I feel like that's the best way to live life.
It's funny because I remember back in high school, I used to be on the basketball team and shit all throughout my younger years and shit. But specifically in high school, I remember when I was a teenager, I developed I forgot what it's called, but it's something where you get breast tissue. So basically my nipples are pretty they're bigger than usual. I'll even show you. So they have a swelling, right?
Bust them out.
Bust them nipples out. So I remember when I used to hoop, right? I used to, you got the little bird chest when you're a teenager and shit. So I used to hoop, my nipples was all big and stuff. So the fella's gonna clown you. So I remember I used to be in the corner trying to pinch my nipples, trying to make them a little hard and shit. So they'd be a little tight. So I could be okay, I'm ready to, so you got titties and stuff like that. So it's funny because that was always a pain point for me when I was younger.
You nigga.
And right, exactly, right. And
it's the same principle.
Right, but it's funny because I remember when I was younger, I used to be man, I'm made fun of, body image type of shit, probably going, with girls, all this type of stuff.
This
and literally nobody ever,
bullshit.
somebody knows, damn, you guys, yours kind of.
Hey, but it don't matter.
And then okay.
It really, no, listen, you think I'm playing, nigga? It's literally the facts.
Yeah,
it's the facts.
nobody really cares.
It goes down to whatever you think is the issue. It just is not bad. I'm sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. And even like I was gonna say, even when I was a teenager, I had like bad acne issues and stuff like that, back knee and stuff like that. And I would still, even to this day, have scars. But I'm a full-on model now, so I still have to think about those things and skin cares and stuff like that. But nobody gives a fuck. People come up to me every day like, you are the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Like, oh my God, do you do this? What is your blah, blah, blah? And I'm like, I don't do shit, but I'm not even, you know what I mean? For me to even give that much attention to it in that way, it would hinder me from even being what I am right now. So I think about those things.
But you still have to feel it initially?
You feel it all the time.
You have to overcome
it. You feel it all the time.
Right.
I still feel it every day when I have to take off my clothes and whatnot. I don't feel it. I don't feel stuff as much because I really don't give a shit. It's funny though. It's funny because I'll think about something with like a skin issue, or like, let's say if I didn't get enough sleep, I'll think about like, man, my eyes probably look baggy or something like that, versus my dick being out. I don't even think about my dick anymore. You know what I mean? So we all have our things.
But that was definitely different the first few times versus the now.
My dick has never actually been the issue. It's funny being out. But it's funny, you always have those different things that you're, like I was just kind of piggybacking off what you're saying. You're always going to have those things from the time I was younger to the time now even. Like those things are going to persist, but it's about like just getting over and realizing nobody really gives a fuck. Like don't let that hinder you from really being what you want to be and like expressing yourself how you want to express yourself and shit. Which is
literally what CARESNONE is about.
Right.
That's literally at the core principle. You need to have the CARESNONE mindset to do that. And the way that it feels like to get the CARESNONE mindset is to realize that they're not really looking.
Yeah, they're not.
So we don't do a lot of things because we don't want to look stupid to others.
It's all about the others, yeah.
Right? And then when you realize that they not really thinking about it.
Well, and even if they are, fuck them.
And then fuck them.
They're their own, like, hey, fuck you, man. I don't give a shit what you say,
Right, because you wouldn't. Why would you even give a fuck about their opinion anyway? They're not in line with what the fuck you think.
Yeah.
So if there's something that you like to do and then they don't like it,
right?
Well, why would you give a fuck what they think?
And I feel like people that hate, usually it's like rooted in like their own, like they have a problem with it themselves, right? Like the kids that got bullied, or like the kids that were the bullies, were usually the ones that had like the most insecurities.
Oh, for sure, absolutely.
So, yeah.
It's always like that.
Absolutely. It's always those motherfuckers.
And I always think to this that we are a lot of times fine with ourselves. It's just the moment we think about somebody else thinking about what we're thinking about. Like, do you think that's cool? I think that shit is cool. Man, that's a cool ass idea. Oh, damn, but what if they don't think it's cool?
Right.
It's like you thought, like, no, keep with that thought. Don't give a fuck. Like the minute you thought about somebody else, you got all whimsical about this shit. No, just you think it's cool, go ahead.
You're saying literally the very first thought of I think I felt good.
That always feels good. Every single time, damn near, that feels good. Yeah. The moment we think about one other person, it's like, oh, shit.
Yep.
I don't know.
That's fact. I can't think of a time where that's not true.
So just be consistent with your thought and like, no, like this is okay. Whatever thought you have is okay. And I think a lot of times we focus on other people's judgment of our shit to approve it, I guess. Validate it, if you will. So maybe that's a part of it because we are social. It's
here's the thing, though, D. Let's say they were thinking certain thoughts. Let's say they were thinking what you think they're thinking, which they're not. But let's just say...
Most likely they're not.
Most likely they're not. But let's just say they all were thinking that, right? They're like, yeah, whatever you think your biggest insecurity is, they hitting at it, right? Let's just assume that that's correct. We've established earlier that you really can't control your own thoughts. So those aren't even those people's thoughts. Right. If you look at it from that perspective. So because just like I can make you think about an elephant right now, you weren't thinking that, but I can make you think about it now. So it's like, are they really in control of that? Or is their environment making them think those thoughts? So it's not even necessarily that person. It's their conditioning from everyone else's fucking thoughts. I know it's kind of deep, but does it make sense though?
I hear you.
So it's like, even if they hating, and here's what else I learned, D. I get a lot of random motherfuckers question, and 99% of the time it's dope. So I think this whole thing where you have to, maybe I'm not at the level yet, but all I've gotten is 99% love, right? It's motherfuckers either like it's dope. Occasionally you get a couple of dumbass comments, right? And in the beginning, this shit hurt a little bit more, but I'm like, wait a minute, your whole thing is CARESNONE. Don't give a fuck, right? That was my whole thing. So I would actually, people would make fun of me for whatever reason. I would make a video about it, almost to become bulletproof. So whatever you got, I'll just fucking lean into it, right? And I kept getting that. I kept doing that. But then what I've noticed, as far as the haters concerned, when you respond with just love, 7 times out of 10, they're like, "Oh man, I was just fucking with you, man. I actually like your content." They're so dope.
Yeah.
So it's like, what do you think is going on in the haters' mind or on the online? Like, I don't even feel like that's real. They be saying shit just to get the reaction a lot of the time.
Yeah, it's an attention grabber. It's a way to get some energy, your point across, your attention, I should say. It's just not as effective. It's one way to do it. But because it's also intimidating to just lead with love for a lot of people as well, because they don't want to feel rejected.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right,
so if I
right,
bash you and then I can
real
tell you
talk.
I love you, it's like another way to get into you, like get your attention. Because you're going to respond to if I say some goofy shit to
Yeah,
you.
you're gonna the energy's coming
But
regardless.
if I give you the, oh man, I'm such a big fan, I just want to know some shit, you might not, historically speaking, it seems more intimidating. Like,
Right.
But it's easy to just say some shit. You piece of shit, that shit goofy as hell, dumbass,
Right.
little, you know.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Which is interesting.
That why personally, I couldn't even fathom going under someone else's art and saying something even remotely close to not perfectly supporting.
Like, why would I
Like, you know
say
what I'm saying?
anything? Yeah.
I would just say nothing. I would just keep scrolling. You're gonna like fuck with that person's energy for your own shit. That's crazy to me. Why wouldn't you just add to the energy or leave it the fuck alone? You're gonna try to, even like if I was
Tarnish
at a
the
restaurant,
energy.
bro. Even if I was at a restaurant, like let's say the service wasn't great. Now, as a server for so many years, I would let like you're a little bit more compassionate. At least I was, because there might be some shit you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm more compassionate of a fuck up from a server. Let's say it's real bad. I might say something to them. I'm not gonna go and fuck with their livelihood.
Nah, we're not about to do all that.
There's a lot of people that do that. Somebody's real. So just because it's on social media, that's just a smaller version of it.
Yeah.
It's a smaller version of doing that. Now, I guess Steve has made this argument that, well, no, when you do that, you could be teaching that motherfucker a lesson, which is true. You get fired for some shit because you fucked up. Hopefully, you would have learned from that situation, and that technically probably, now that I'm thinking about it, might be the right play, because hopefully you would take being fired as a sign that I need to fix something.
Right.
Right? Unless you think you got fired on some straight bullshit,
Which most people do.
which most people think. But let's just say that you fucked up, which, let's be honest, I know I fucked up a few times and got caught, and I was like, I fucked up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, but I still wouldn't rather, like, I don't want to be, like, I want to lead happy. I don't want to lead confrontational, if that makes any sense. Even though that probably would be the best thing for them, now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah. I mean,
You probably should get in trouble.
people do like confrontation.
I don't know how to feel about that. How do you feel about that, Tom? That's a crazy question.
I mean, on that side of things, like, since I run business and stuff, I remember I got like 1 or 2 Google reviews from back in the day when I was running a recording studio from like motherfuckers that had never been there. And there was like a 1-star review. They'd have like no description or stuff. And it's just like, I don't know why they did it. I don't know if it's like just troll people. Like, again, they hadn't even been there. So like, I don't know how they could have a formed opinion, but it's like, this is my business. And like people see like a 3-star, a 4-star opposed to a 5-star, like hesitate there.
Right.
And the whole thing about like servers. Yeah. You see that all the time with restaurants. Like, the food came back kind of bad. So like 1 star and the server was whatever. And it's just like, there's a lot of stuff at play there. And like, usually at some point, like the business owner's like not quite the problem with that. I guess he should have maybe hired better chefs and servers and shit. But like people have bad days and things. I think there's some truth to what you said about like calling people out. And sometimes you need to be told like, hey, you fucked this up. And like, there should be some consequences, like if a server was like straight up rude and like awful to you, whatever, but like you should be able to separate like, all right, this person's having a bad day, or like maybe not, the peak of their performance today, but like whatever, I'm not going to go like tarnish this business reputation and or like call this person out and like roast them for it. Like
He might, you know what I'm saying? Like, listen, maybe he was terrible, but then you gonna fucking, now he got money to drop for his kids and shit. You want to fuck with his energy that much because you had an inconvenient hour or whatever?
And that's the whimsical part about working for someone that's super uncomfortable for me.
What say it again? Or like what part exactly?
That shit can be gone just like that.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a you can journey through that shit for 30 years, and the next day they can be like, yeah, no mas.
Oh, so you think that's the part that hit you the most about being an entrepreneur?
one of the parts. Ownership is one of the biggest parts to me. Like just ownership of my time and my energy. Like I don't want to be.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest.
Yeah, that's my biggest thing of all time. Like I just want to be able to own my own story, which is owning my own time, and just being having to clock in and clock out.
Yeah.
And which is fine. I'm cool with working. Like work is a part of the industry. Like I always say, it's just that I can't work towards being a worker only.
Yeah, I can't.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that can't be a part of my
like
my repertoire.
You should be a worker to get towards ownership.
Yeah, exactly. Which is that should be the goal for me at least. That's
I agree.
My goal.
I'm 100% on board with that.
But yeah, that's just kind of how I roll with it. Ownership is just always been my goal. Yeah,
I would say I like having my freedom of time so I can write my own story.
Yeah, that's it.
You know, that's because it's such a great way to put it. It's like you want to be the writer of your story. You want someone else to direct it. You just want to be an actor, but you don't really have a say.
Exactly. You get your pension and things like that, which is all fine. It's gonna set you up for life. Like if you hopefully work for a well-rounded company and whatnot that can give you those things, those benefits, and you've put the time and education in to get that. But there's something that comes with it too. It's
Hey. My bad for interrupting the podcast, but I gotta throw a little bit of love to CARESNONE.com. You can go in there and get links to the social medias. You got your Instagrams, you got your TikToks, you got your YouTubes, you got all kind of stuff on there. You got links to the wing review. You got links to the audio and video version of the podcast. All kind of stuff on there. And most importantly to me, which is very important to me, is you get your merchandise on there. You can get you a Be Dope shirt just like this. Join the movement. There's a lot of people joining this movement right now. You should be a part of it. And I would really appreciate if you'd be a part of it. This serves as a daily reminder to be the best version of yourself and not give a damn about what these other people think about what it is you want to do to be the best version of yourself. And for the people watching this right now, use promo code PODCAST and you'll get 20% off your order right now. Right now. For all the people who are watching the podcast, you get 20% off right now. Promo code PODCAST. Thank you. See you next time. Now back to the podcast.
Not the full access to everything that you could imagine.
Right. It's not 100%.
It's not.
And it might be more of 100% than other motherfuckers.
It's more stable. It's probably more stable for sure. You got to be more saluted.
Super successful. You can have a life. Especially if you lower your what you spend versus by what you make. So let's say you making $100K and you only spend 10. All right.
Right.
So you can make it work that way. but I feel like once you taste but you still at the end of the day have to ask someone else.
Right. And I think that's not necessarily a bad thing because we have to either be the system creator or work within the system. You know, and I think there's just people who feel more comfortable, like you said, being the leader of a creative
and that's why
system.
it happens.
Exactly.
But do you think people can get out of that, or you think some people naturally?
I think some people are naturally that. Some people want it. Some people don't. Some people don't want to lead all of that and think about all this brainiac shit, operational. Some people just want to create. Some people just want to clock in. And some people just love their fucking job. Some people love their position and they have a good relationship and they're in a good position. But
when you argue at the end of the day, though, I think they like it in relation to they'd rather be on the beach with their homies.
I think
I'd rather be on the beach with my homies.
I think I think certain levels where people have structural fulfillment in their life within the company. I should say. They can have homies, all that shit, have the vacation time set up, all this other stuff, and they're comfortable within that system. But then there's also the ownership part of it where it's like, I really want to be able to control all of my shit. I don't care that that's a good system that you got going on. I want my time. Right. You know? And I think that different people come into that at different parts of their lives. Like, I think yours probably came more naturally. You were already in a situation, but then you were like, I can probably do this myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that kind of naturally occurred. It's not like you were pushing towards it or anything, right? Or like pushing for it.
Not necessarily. I don't know. I mean, like I said, I think that the long-term play was always going to be entrepreneurship. But like I was seeing somebody else do it and I was just like, I can do this shit myself.
Okay.
Have you always thought you wanted to be, have you always wanted to be an entrepreneur?
I've always never wanted to work for I just never wanted to really, I've always wanted to figure out how not to work.
So yeah, so naturally, yeah.
As far as like, I never saw myself doing 9 to 5, sitting at a desk, going like Monday through Friday. I never saw that, and even to this day, I'm 32, and I've still avoided all of that shit, and it looks like I'm going to avoid it for the rest of my life. I've worked jobs and stuff like that. Of course, I've worked hours, but you know how industries are and shit. You can fly by night that shit and still make 70, 60,
Right.
70K. But yeah, I've always wanted to respect my imagination. And I think I was just thinking about this the other day. For the first 11 years of my life, I grew up as the only child. So I was like a very responsible kid. Like I had to have a lot of responsibility. It was just me and my mom.
Right.
And I was like a latchkey kid where I had the key and I'm taking care of the groceries. I'm taking care of like laundry. I'm walking myself to school and I'm 6, 7, 8, 9, you know? And so I had to use my imagination a lot. So I was always willing to like just, I think as I got older, like I was able to like respect my imagination more and not really respect anybody else's as much as you wanted me to. Like I could respect it, but it's like I'm not gonna
go hard body at that.
No, not for and especially if you come into your adulthood, like, no, this is some real shit that I can put my actual dollars towards.
Right.
Like this is a time where, okay, I'm a grown up, I can put my energy towards some shit now. If I know I got an imagination and I respect it, why would I put all my energy towards your shit and not mine? When I know that all it takes is just the energy that I want to put towards it. So that, for me, growing into my adulthood was always very troubling because they're teaching you to go into this job, go into a career, go into that. And I'm like, I can, but that ain't De'Eric.
It didn't feel good for Chris. Yeah,
that ain't none of those things De'Eric. I don't give a fuck what business you put in front of me. They don't say De'Eric, pretty cool shit on it. Like, none of that feels like me.
Right.
So that was always going to be my journey and shit, entrepreneurship. That was just going to be, it made more sense for the way in which I was able to think growing up and turn into the person that I became.
We're about to end this soon, but what made me decide to go balls deep into entrepreneurship is realizing by self-development. And I heard someone once say that self-development is probably the number one form of, entrepreneurship is probably the number one form of self-development. And I would start watching these things on YouTube or, books or whatever. And they all of them had businesses, kind of like subconsciously. They turned it into a business. And then I started saying, okay. And then I started coming across the YouTube videos where they're talking about the actual business. So then I just didn't have my own business. I was just like, oh, okay, this is what people like that do, so what's the business? But I didn't really know, which is funny because this whole time I had a social media audience, which is a huge part of business, is to have a fucking audience, right?
The biggest.
It's probably the biggest, the idea and the audience. So I'm like, wait a minute. And I was doing that purely out of love. Like, I just enjoyed doing that. I would say if it was like 100% purely out of love, I was like 95% doing it because I enjoyed doing it versus that 5% that it probably could take off for something one day, maybe.
Right,
Who knows?
right.
So then I was like, and then someone told me, I wore a hat in a video that someone made for me. Shout out to the Gray Area.
Bang.
I wore the hat in a couple of my videos, and then somebody was like, oh man, you sell merch? And I remember at the time thinking, oh yeah, I do. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't at the time, but I'm like, it's a good idea. I'm like, let me get on that. So then a buddy of mine, or his name is CJ, got on board and was like, hey man, this is right when the pandemic started.
Yep.
Like March 10th or some shit. He goes, hey man, I just started a t-shirt clothing company that are a custom business. I made some shirts for you. This is a huge key. He led with what I can do for you as opposed to, come work for me.
Right.
So I'm like, oh, I like the switch, and that's actually a smart, powerful move.
That was a good play.
Because then I took it a little bit more serious because he showed me probably what the idea.
Gave you the vision.
He gave me the canvas, and so then I'm like, oh, okay, boom. Then 2020 happened, and I didn't know what the fuck was going on. Like, we're about to die in this bitch.
All right.
So we didn't get up for like 3-4 months, but then we sat down and came up with it. So then I'm like, all right, well, and then people started buying the shit. Mm-hmm. And I believed in it. They believed in me and the energy to put behind it, right? So I'm like, oh, well, why don't I do it? Because it's going to come. It's obviously a thing that can work.
Right.
I heard that if you can sell 12 products, no matter what it is, to strangers, you have a business formula. Just he said 10. Sell 10 products, not family, not friends. Sell 10 products. If you can sell 10 products, you'll have a business. Like, you have a plan. So now you just have to figure out how to work that.
Right.
So I'm like, okay. And I did that to more than 10 strangers. I'm like, oh, let's do it right. Let's get the money right behind it. Let's understand financing now. Let's understand marketing now. Let's understand who, not how now. Let's understand your environment now. It all makes more sense. If you want this shit to work, you're going to have to fix the whole fucking pie and not just a slice of it. And so that's what I'm doing. Hey, De'Eric, shout your shit out.
Yes, prettycoolapes.com and also Pretty Cool Apes and Instagram as well. I'll shout that out.
I know you don't want to do that. You want to keep it all straight.
Yeah, but I'm working on some shit. I got prettycoolapes.com, but I'm also building out another site, Pretty Cool Poses, and it's gonna be the site for artists to buy images of 3D models posing in different images and whatnot. So I'm working on that development right now, prettycoolposes.com, but prettycoolapes.com as well for the.
And you about to start getting into like helping people create business structure.
So I'm also about to start running the wing. My mom has a company that she's
Shout it out.
National Insurance and Tax Service.
Hey, she does my taxes too, y'all.
Oh yeah,
like, real talk.
Everything.
And I think she's hooking Mike up. So
oh yeah, so
like
she has
like real talk.
She has a lot of different parts.
And you can do it all online.
Actually, you know what? Let me break this down real quick. So my mom is actually a great example of what we're talking about before we wrap it up. So she has a business, I was explaining earlier, where my mom is in the accounting industry. So she's in the numbers and shit. She started, her business is called National Insurance and Tax Service. She started this business off with national insurance, the insurance part being about auto insurance, right? The taxes was a throw on because that was just something she was talented in. But over time, the taxes became something that was her biggest play. It was her biggest money maker. The auto insurance doesn't even really make any money. It's like 10 racks a year is going to be in rotation. So what she's going to do is the person who put her into auto insurance, she's going to have her now run that whole wing. You can grow that as much as you want. Grow it up. It's 10K running up to 50K, whatever you want to do with it. I'm now going to lead she has also a business formation part of her business. I'm going to now lead that wing because I'm into business formation. I've started now 2 LLCs, right. Working on more.
And you have an entrepreneur, you have a business podcast.
Exactly. We talk about this shit. We're leading the way with it. So I'm actually taking care of the LLC side. That I'm learning about the S corps, formation, nonprofits, things like that.
Start putting a lot of energy into that.
Putting a lot of energy into that side. All the energy that I put into all the Pretty Cool Ape stuff, Pretty Cool Poses, I'm going to put that energy into that as well. Building that side of it so we can start helping people actually build businesses of their own. Get a logo, get a package that you can actually get with an EIN so you can make your ideas official. So National Insurance and Tax Service, she built that out, and we're actually compartmentalizing these ideas, passing them off to other people so it can work properly.
And if you have a problem that it's hard for you to get there, then you can send them to CARESNONE. We'll get your mindset right.
Absolutely.
Like real talk.
Absolutely.
You know
Absolutely.
Hey, Tom, shout your shit out, man.
Chicago Podcast Studio. That's it, man.
Mm-hmm.
You can find me at caresnone.com or at Chris CaresNone on all social media platforms. And as always, CaresNone!
Yeah.